Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is Jay Wendell of Midwest Metal Show and the Asylum Radio Network. And today, got a little bit of a present for you here. I have Mr. John LaMacchia of Candiria fame, and he has just put together what, at least I believe, I've had a chance to listen to it already. Certainly not everybody else has, but a brand new solo album that you put together. Titled Thunderheads. It's dropping on May the 20th, correct?
That's right, man. Thank you so much for having me on, and I appreciate the kind words.
Oh, not a problem. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I mean, I really can't complain. A lot of people are responding positively to the album, and I'm in good spirits. I'm doing what I love, and I'm playing shows and writing music and making videos and doing all the things I love to do. So I'm doing good.
And a lot of the things you couldn't really do for a little while.
Yeah, exactly.
So now I'm very curious, actually, before we even get into the album and everything like that, I noticed that along with it, you're doing a 100-page art book.
Yes.
So tell me about that a little bit, because considering the music and everything like that, I'm really curious about this.
Well, the cool thing about Aqualam Records, and this is the reason why I want to start working with them, I think they were one of the first, if not the first, record label that started printing books as an album format. And what that meant was basically that it was like an extended, it was like, how can I put it? Almost like a really like a deluxe art version of an album, a visual sort of, I don't know. Really, I'm doing a poor job of describing what their intention was, but
it sounds more like sort of like an audio-visual journey.
Pretty much, that's exactly what their intention was. Some type of visual companion to go along with the album.
Right.
And it was exciting to me when I met those guys. You know, they're based in Brooklyn and Cleveland, so and mainly in Brooklyn. And I love the books. They're all very, each one that they put out is uniform. My cat just jumped the other way.
So she does that all the time. She makes little appearances in all kinds of interviews that I do. So I make peace with it.
Jump up on the desk in about 5 minutes. She'll be here. She'll be like, "Why aren't you paying attention to me?"
Exactly.
But they put out these beautiful books, and to me, I've never done anything like that. And the idea seemed really appealing to me. They also, Jonathan Swafford and Eric Palmieri, who own the label, they both come from a design background.
Okay.
So their aesthetic, the label's aesthetic, to me was always appealing. So it was a really interesting sort of idea for me to put out a record and there be a book with it. So it's been a journey. It's been a challenge because, I've already, in my opinion, I've made the work. I've already made the piece of the body of work that I'd like to present to the world.
Right.
But now there's this other piece of art that we are just finishing up. And I've been working on it so hard. But it's going to be really cool. And I can't wait to see this thing printed. I really can't. I'm really excited about it. We know what it looks like, but I haven't actually held one in my hand. So I'm really, really psyched about it. And I can't wait for people to check it out. It's going to have like a bunch of my drawings. It's going to have a ton of my photography in it. It's going to have QR codes that lead you to bonus material on the internet, on the interwebs, downloadable content, all kinds of cool shit, man. So I'm just pretty psyched about it. And it's different for me. And I hope people get into the idea of checking out new, different ways to experience albums.
It sounds like it's going to be really exciting too once you get a chance to get your hands on the finished everything put together too. So
yeah, I can't wait for that, man.
Now, are you doing just CDs, or are you doing vinyl, or are you?
We're doing vinyl, CDs, and we're doing the book. That's the thing. That's the trifecta that we got going right now.
Well, yeah. Hopefully the vinyl isn't too badly delayed or anything like that. I know a lot of people have run into issues with, at least on the vinyl end of things, where, like, I don't know how. It's so weird that it's become so prominent again.
Yeah. Oh, just vinyl in general?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting, man. I mean, I own a record label. I'm going on 15 years of owning one, and I got into the vinyl sort of revival thing back then. That's the reason why I started a label. Um, and I love all formats. I love the idea of there being multiple formats. I love cassettes. I love CDs. I love them all. I think they all have different qualities and different things that make them cool. You know what I mean? Like cassettes are cool because they're compact, they're small, they're inexpensive to make. They have a specific sound quality, highly compressed, tiny 1/8-inch tape. It's like there's something really cool about that. Vinyl is just, to me, the ultimate thing, the ultimate size. It's 12 by 12. It's massive, so I think I'm obsessed with all of it. I love CDs as well. I have some really beautiful CDs, some beautiful packaging. But I think the thing with vinyl is it just started trending. I think the idea that you can make like colored vinyl, you can combine all these wild colors together. It's like people love that shit, man. I mean, that's why I fell in love with the revival as well, because there were labels like Hydra Head and Pirates Press, and there were all these labels that were putting out these wild colored vinyls, and there weren't that many labels doing that kind of thing back then. When I started the label, I was like, that's it. I'm doing this. This is what I want to do. I want to make colored vinyl. And now, almost 15 years later, there are, if you're an artist and you're anyone,
you almost have to put out.
You have to put out vinyl. I mean, Taylor Swift, Adele, and that's why we're backed up. We're backed up because now it's like the pressing plants that exist are overwhelmed. They're completely overwhelmed. And I'm not sure if you noticed, but Jack White made this like video.
Oh, he has his own, do his own pressing. I saw that. Yeah.
And did you see the thing that he said? He sent a message out to all the major labels. I think Sony, Warner Brothers, and one more. I forget who the other one is. And he said to them, I was able to do this. I'm an artist, and I was able to put this vinyl pressing plant together. I'm asking you for all of the independent musicians out there, for you guys to build your own plants to press your own vinyl, because what's happening with the vinyl industry is shameful. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
These young, bands, like guys like me, I press 500 copies of an album, and it just takes 6 to 9 months to get it. It's crazy. 9 months to a year. We did the vinyl, the Candiria 300% density album. It took 10 months to turn it around, which is insane. It's insane.
Well, I think one of the reasons I actually like vinyl myself so much, I tend to, if I get something on vinyl, I will listen to it more thoroughly, because it's not one of those things where you can just easily skip past certain things or anything like that, or it kind of takes away the ability to have ADHD about your listening and everything like that. And it's a more interactive process, even because at some point you're flipping over the album, and just I love all of every bit of that. I feel like I connect better to music that way. It's one of those things. If my parents had vinyl and everything like that, and I didn't understand it when I was younger. Cassette tapes were big, and then CDs, and then CDs turned into the big thing, and everybody was on CDs, and then honestly, all the digital streaming and everything like that. And then it's remarkable to me that vinyl is so big, considering people generally get their music for as close to free as they possibly can.
Sure, yeah.
So
yeah, it's kind of crazy, man. We live in a really wild time. There's a lot of arguments that Spotify is worse than Bandcamp, and Bandcamp's better, and there's all different reasons why one is better than the other, and the argument can go both ways. With Spotify, I feel it's the only streaming service that's totally free. You might hear commercials, besides YouTube, of course.
Right.
You may hear commercials. That may be a part of it. But at the same time, like Apple Music doesn't have a free option. There's no listening to Apple Music for free. You have to pay a monthly fee. And Bandcamp is great, but they charge a monthly fee, and on top of it, they charge each sale. I think they take 30, not 30%, maybe 15 to 20% of each
Mhm.
sale. So they're charging you monthly, and they're taking a fee. So there's arguments for every one of them. And I think the argument I have for Spotify is discovery. You know what I mean? Like if your music is on Spotify, is there, you're putting your music out into the world where most people listen to, where most people stream music. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think to not have your music on there, are you really changing anything? Not really.
No.
Not if you're me and you have, whatever. At this point, this is my first solo album. I have a couple of hundred monthly listeners. Like, I'm not
Right.
going to put a dent in Spotify. I'm not going to change the world that way.
Right.
Might as well have it up there.
Right. And it's one of those things and there are going to be those moments that some people might not dig it, but you might get somebody that comes across and it's just like,
Right.
what's this? And then it kind of rabbit holes, because that's the way I am about music a lot of times too. I hear something new that really catches my ear, and then all of a sudden I just kind of it's sort of like the same thing when you start going through Wikipedia articles and stuff like that and start rabbit holing all the way down into it.
Of course.
So, and I really enjoy anytime I can find new music anyhow, because honestly I get bored with a lot of the stuff. I mean, I like regular radio. I got bored of years ago. Years and years and years ago. It's always the same thing over and over again. And as I got involved more with the music world in general, it was amazing. A lot of these just untapped artists that I ran into and just unique sounding stuff, and hearing these things that everybody gets excited about a year or two later. And it's like, man, I feel a little bit like a musical hipster, but at the same time, I've been listening to this for a while now.
Right, yeah, sure, yeah.
So
yeah, you get a little spoiled, or you get you want to move on quickly. You want to find things, and I totally agree with you about as far as like the rabbit hole thing goes. Lately I've been on, and don't anyone get crazy and get mad at me, but I've been using Amazon Music, Amazon Prime Music.
that's actually what I use primarily.
Really?
Yeah, because the my sound or the my soundtrack and the discovery stuff on there, I honestly like it better than Spotify. I haven't been using Spotify for a while.
Yeah, I actually really do. I've been really enjoying the Amazon Music Prime Music experience. I've been really, really enjoying it. And I'll be making, because I do have Amazon Prime, because it's great. I think Prime is a great way. It's to me, it's like, how do you not want to have this? I mean, fuck Jeff. I don't, Jeff Bezos. Maybe he's bad. Maybe he's good. I don't know. But will say this: I pay like a monthly fee, and I get all free deliveries for whatever I need in my house. Like,
and they have the video service and everything
I
like
get
that.
Free video service.
I mean,
I get free music service. How do I say no to this?
Well, especially through thinking about through the pandemic and everything like that. I mean, at the point where we couldn't get out as much anyhow. I mean, I used it a ton during that. I mean,
I mean, Etsy don't give me free music.
Right.
Etsy doesn't give me fucking free. Everyone who hates on fucking Amazon, I'm like, use Etsy. I'm like, what? I get video service, man. The Lord of the Rings fucking series is going to be coming out on Amazon. That to me alone is worth having.
Actually, there's a lot of good series on there. If you've ever watched, I think my most recent favorite one is Hunters. If you never saw that, if you ever saw that with Al Pacino and it's like a group of Nazi hunters. Yeah,
I did. Really good.
Oh,
really
good. It's so good.
It's really good. Isn't there's another series that Nick Winding Refn did. You know that guy, that director, Nick Winding Refn? He did Drive and Neon Demon.
Okay.
His movies.
Okay.
And the name of the series is called Too Young to Die, or Too Old to Die. Too young.
I know what you're talking about.
Too old to die young. That's okay. Too old to die young, and it's it's definitely his style. He's like obsessed with like basically like cult, like violent cultures, like drug dealers and like
Right.
cops and like mob people. Like he's obsessed with this stuff, you know.
Mhm.
But he's a very interesting director, and I really like his work. Neon Demon is my favorite. Only God Forgives is really like that's a. There's some really intense moments in that one. But the series, Too Old to Die Young, is really cool, man. And I just started that, so I'm kind of digging it.
I'll have to take a look at
Mhm.
that.
Yeah.
So I suppose we should actually talk about the album a little bit
Mhm.
since we really haven't that much. So,
Sure.
so obviously this is a bit of a departure. I mean, it's definitely. I don't know what I was expecting when I started listening to it, but
Mhm.
it wasn't what I got.
Yeah.
And a lot of that had to do with. I mean, I'm familiar with your with Candaria and stuff like that,
Mhm.
and I mean, this is a completely different entity. I mean,
Right.
there were moments where I was thinking, this kind of reminds me of King's X, or this kind of reminds me of Radiohead, or
Mhm.
Smashing Pumpkins, or I
Mhm.
mean, just and it. The one thing I loved about it so much is that it really does feel like going through a journey. Speaking, here's my cat again.
Yeah. Here's mine.
but but it I it was one of those things I was excited to hear each new track just because everything was so much of a it it, it all flowed so well together, but every track was absolutely different,
Cool, man.
and
I
it
appreciate
had
it.
like different ping different things, different emotions, different things that things that like sounded similar to, but nothing ever sounded exactly like anything else. And
Mhm.
I just love the range that you went through on there.
Thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. And you know, the thing I'll say about that is, you know, a lot of the times circumstances will dictate how an album sounds, or
Mhm.
how you write music, or how you how you might produce a song. And this is certainly the case. And much of this music was recorded um, during the pandemic, which the circumstances, um, you know, I wasn't able to get in a room with people
Right.
all the time. You know, as a matter of fact, for the most part, I recorded, I would say about at least 75% of the music alone by myself. Maybe a little bit less than that. Um, all of the bass tracks were recorded by Michael MacGyver, my bass player, who plays on this album, and he also plays in Candiria. Um, he recorded all his bass tracks by himself. Um, Kelly Scott from Failure, I'm not sure if you know, he plays drums on the album.
Yeah.
He recorded everything in LA with this guy, Gabe, who did a great job. And I think some of Sabrina Ellie's vocals were recorded um, in her house in Maryland. Um, so it was like, and it was mixed in Pittsburgh, and you know, additional tracks were in there. So this was truly like the experience, the creative experience, and the creative process was very, in a lot of ways, it was really disconnected. And there was a lot of, you know, sort of I wonder how this is going to go type thing going on in my brain. Like, man, this guy's going to just, okay, so he's just going to go record it. I'm not going to be there. I'm not going to be able to say, hey, why don't you try this or that? But that's just how it went down. And that is what I think, why I think things sound the way they do in the album, because when when circumstances are that way, you just have to make do with what you have, and make art with it. Thematically, although the songs all sonically may differ, and it may be this sort of specific range between like acoustic instruments and electronic instruments, thematically, all of the songs are about specifically one experience, and it's about grief and loss and all of these, you know, different things about, uh, I guess, in a way, gaining. It's about loss. It really is. It's about loss and grief, and I think thematically, that's the one constant thing that kind of holds everything together pretty tight, as a matter of fact. So I think that's why the experience, although it may feel different at times, it seems to all work together in one way or another.
Well, like I said, I thought everything flowed really, really well on there. I'm actually looking forward to, because I intend on actually picking it up on vinyl. Then if
Thank
it
you,
just
man.
I wanted to get a copy one way or another, so I was very excited when you said there's going to be vinyl to it,
Yeah,
because
sure.
I feel like I think it's one of those types of albums that fits that, even because it's funny because as much as I love vinyl, I don't think all music is like I love how vinyl sounds, but I also think some music is better suited to it than others.
Sure. I agree with
And
you 100%.
I think that this is absolutely something that should be on vinyl.
Thank you so much for saying that, man. I appreciate that because it is definitely something that, as an artist and being involved with Aqualam Records, these are things that we all consider as well, and that's one of the reasons why we knew that we had to press it on vinyl, because we knew it would be a great album experience, which is something like you touched on before about how you're way more, you're way more,
Interactive.
yeah, you're interacting. And I mean, I was going to mention before when you were talking about like the vinyl experience, about how it used to be a thing to get together with friends and listen to vinyl records. You just used to listen to records together. That was the thing to do. Hey, you want to come over and listen to records? And it's something that I still do with friends, but
Mhm.
not a lot of people do that anymore. I do it because I have an entire vinyl collection, and my friend around the corner does as well. And we need a reason to share, and he could sit in his house and listen to vinyl, and I can sit in mine and listen to vinyl. But why not get together and, like, I'll play him a couple of records, he'll play me a couple of records. It's nice.
Well, I think too, because of especially in the more modern stuff, with the scarcity of vinyl, um,
Yeah,
and that I think that it's one of those things. A lot of times, you'll know people that have different vinyl than you do. It's not like
sure.
one of those things where everybody has their own copy and everything.
Right,
So,
right. That's the way it used to be back in the day. As
right.
a matter of fact, I actually wound up with a collection of vinyl that my sister Lorraine wound up with through a divorce. Somehow she wound up with an entire box. And when I say a box, I mean like a box, not just like a milk crate, a
Right.
huge box of vinyl records. Everything from Bob Marley records to Pink Floyd to, I mean, this was like, I hit the fucking, I hit the jackpot. Grateful Dead records, Pink Floyd, Yes, King Crimson, like AC/DC albums, Kiss, fucking everything. I was like a kid in a candy store. And there were two things that each record either had the name Sharon written on it, or
Hmm.
I think the other guy's name was Gary. And it was either Sharon or Gary. And it was like, these people were like married or dated, and they were like, listen, this is my record, motherfucker. I'm writing Sharon on it. When we divorce, it's going with me. But it's funny, man, because like you said, it's true. Like back in the day, it was so common for everyone to go out and buy, to have the record, that it became commonplace for everyone to make sure that they knew that this is my copy, that's your copy, vice versa, and
Right.
yada yada yada.
So, I had a random question actually about one of the songs
Sure.
on the album, and although this is more of a nerdy question, just because it made me think of Watchmen, that with Pagliacci Kid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is that what the reference is from, or is that? I mean, obviously the joke existed on its own, or the whole sort of what's the Pagli uh, ah, Pagliacci the clown,
Right.
yeah, that he goes to, or the guy that goes to the doctor, and doctor recommends that he goes out and laugh and go see the great Pagliacci, and then says, "I am Pagliacci." I believe that's how it goes.
Yes. Yeah. It's interesting you say that, because that is not where the title came from. But the more the first time I heard the term, I'll get to that. But since I've heard the term Pagliacci and learned about what this is, it keeps coming up. Obviously, like once
Right.
you know about something, now you see it everywhere, that kind of
Oh,
thing.
exactly. Yeah.
But where it came from was, and it's so funny because I just wrote about this today. We're just finishing up the book,
Hmm.
and the last thing that we're adding is text.
Hmm.
The label wants me to write about each song, and discuss the production and the and like the sort of the process from like the creative process.
Right.
And today I was writing about Pagliacci Kid, and the reason that came up is, and it's so funny, I just wrote about this. It's so fucking weird. My cousin Sandy, who lives in LA now, but I grew up with her in deep in South Brooklyn. We grew up in the same areas. Most people don't know most people that move to Brooklyn will never go to these neighborhoods. They are just too deep in Southern Brooklyn to even be bothered. It's like the forgotten part of Brooklyn. But needless to say, we lived in these neighborhoods. I lived in Sheepshead Bay and she lived in Bath Beach, and they were like beach, waterfront sort of neighborhoods. And in the neighborhood she lived in Bath Beach, there were like 3 or 4 family houses on one block. Okay. So we would have these big family events. And when we did, one of the patriarchs was my Uncle Tony, Tony Atanasio.
Okay.
And he was a quiet man, like growing up, like, he was like beloved, and he was a quiet, sweet man. Like you would never ever think there was anything ever wrong with this guy. He was always happy to be around everyone. But I just, a couple years ago, I think it was during the pandemic, I forget, right before the pandemic happened in 2019, I went to LA to visit my friend Chris Santos, who is a celebrity chef, and he also has his own record label, Blacklight Media. Shout out to Chris. But he invited me out to LA to come and hang with him. And I took that opportunity to also visit my cousins Sandy and Vicky, and Gina. I'm sorry, I have so many cousins. And because they live out in LA too. So I went to see my cousins. And one day my cousin Sandy takes me on a hike in Griffith Park. And we're in Griffith Park and we're walking around. And somehow she brings up Uncle Tony. And I don't know, we were talking about him. And she was just telling me a little bit more about him, that I didn't really realize that he was a very sad man, a very depressed man. And she said to me, she goes, yeah, you never heard him say his saying? He had like that saying. And I'm like, no. And she goes, well, if you've been like, hey, Uncle Tony, how you doing? He would be like, Pagliacci kid, Pagliacci. And it was his way of saying, like, I'm like this sad clown. I'm like this fucking melancholy guy that like,
right.
Like my wife laughs at me. I'm a joke, that kind of thing. And I had been writing that song. I've been working on that song. And when she mentioned it to me, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe it. It's like the perfect fucking title for that song, because it's exactly sort of the self-pity, sort of like, I don't know, regret type of like, I don't know, the state of mind I was in when I was writing the song. I just felt, man, that is a perfect fucking title for it. So yeah, that's where the title came from.
Well, that's actually, I love the fact that that there is such an in-depth story to it.
Yeah, no, it really is. Yeah, my cousin Sandy is an amazing person, and she always has a way with words and a way of telling stories. So it just had this impact on me, and I walked away thinking to myself, man, this song and that title, like perfect combination.
So when did you finish writing the album?
Ooh, that's a good question, man. I would say it got finished in the winter of 2021.
Okay, so as things were starting to wind down, at least, but it's still, I mean,
yeah.
Well, now do you live in New York?
Yeah, I live in Brooklyn still.
Okay, so you still live in Brooklyn. So, and I know New York, the level of lockdown over there comparatively to pretty much everywhere else was a lot more significant.
Sure.
I have a few, got a few friends. I have a friend or two that lives over in Brooklyn. I have a few friends that live in Queens, stuff like that. But it was always one of those things, having to have like the passport essentially, and
Sure. Oh yeah.
And so I mean, obviously you couldn't go around as much and everything. And I have the feeling that anything that you would write. Now, are you planning on doing a follow up to this at some point?
Oh no, 100%. There's no doubt about it. I mean,
and it'll be a completely different album too, because I mean,
oh yeah, I mean, it's written in a different time. I don't know how. The thing with me is I've always written music that was on the darker side.
Mm-hmm.
This is a dark record, but I don't know. There's a euphoric vibe to it in a way. You know what I mean? There's also some positivity in it about perseverance and about like um, survival and about withstanding great pain and that kind of thing. There's all these. I mean, there's these elements of it that to me are this is important to me. This is like, in a sense, this is how I process grief. This is how I get over things. This is how I deal with loss. And like, I write about it. I make art out of these really fucking dark feelings. And if I don't, I will become a fucking basket case. You know what I mean? Like, I have no choice. I can't. This is my way. This is my therapy. But maybe you're right. Maybe I will write a record and it will be completely different. And it's funny you say that, because the other day I picked up my guitar and I started playing something, and I was like, you know what? I'm not going to play minor chords. I'm going to play major chords, and I'm going to write a fucking song with major chords. I never do. And the reason why I'm going to do it is because I never have. And I want to prove to myself that I can write something that I enjoy that has these sort of more happy sounding chords. I never do it. There's always some like really sad darkness in the music I write. And so maybe you're onto something there, man. Maybe Jay, you might be barking up the right tree right there with that comment.
Well, the funny thing is, like talking about like doing things in major chord rather than minor and such. Like I almost think when you say that, thinking of like following Devin Townsend through the years, and where so much of his work and stuff was, well, I mean, metal, or like, I mean, Strapping Young Lad. There was nothing major chord about that, and
Nope.
and then as he kind of progressed through the years, I mean, so he has albums that are almost completely in major chord now at this point. Well, mind you, his stuff is all over the place too, because it's all speaks to a point wherever he's been in life. And
sure, yeah,
and
yeah,
and that's it's the reason why albums, well, in theory, nobody's has albums that sound nearly identical to ones they've done before. There are
sure.
bands out there that have been like that, where they just have
Sure.
their formula and everything,
Right.
but
Yeah.
that's also not the stuff that I generally listen to.
Right.
So
I tend to agree with you 100%. I tend to listen to artists that I feel are open to growth. But there are artists too that I'm guilty of being one of those people that I get bummed if like I love a band sound and then the band changes. I'm like, there you go. It's hit or miss,
Yeah, I think that funny thing is, I've always been a huge Deftones fan, but it's also like there's some albums that just I didn't quite vibe with me. But you know what? That's okay too, because I don't think it takes away from anything they've done previously or anything like that. It's just different points. So
well, now I'm curious, where did you sort of veer off?
So I veered off a little bit on their self-titled album. The one that had like pins and needles and stuff on it, which, I mean, it had moments on there that were good, but and I wasn't that big of a fan of Gore. I mean, it definitely had moments to it as well, but like my favorite still to this day is probably Around the Fur.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So I liked the grittier, less produced.
Wow, I'm interested. I think it's interesting that self-titled album didn't vibe for you, because I felt there was this sort of callback to this more raw, straightforward tone, or like dryness, like the guitar tones were a little drier. Whereas like an album like Saturday Night Wrist, there was like this, it was wetter sounding. There was more effects. The production was a little bit more grandiose in a sense.
Right.
But I understand what you mean. That's one of the bands that like album to album, the production changes, and production to me can, at this point, I understand greatly that production can either make an album great or it can ruin it. Or it can make, it can change your fan base, the production style. It really can. Like, you can produce an album in a way where it's like, well, now this sounds nothing like our old album. And when I say sounds like, I don't even mean about like the chords and the melodies and the riffs and the the songs and all of that stuff. I mean, just like the way the songs are mixed, the effects that you put on the voice, the effects you put on the drums, all of those things are just as important to me, because I think with the right production or the wrong production can either make or break a song. I really do. I mean, if you have a shit song, then there's no polish in a turd.
Right.
But if you have a really good song and it's produced really, really well, and it's mixed really, really well, it could be a great song.
Right.
I think.
It's and the funny thing is too, even to yourself, I mean, there's points where I know bands haven't been particularly happy about albums they've made that I've ended up loving, or songs that they've made that because everything speaks to people differently. I mean,
Sure.
So
yeah, 100%. Yeah, production is a massive part of the creative process to me at this point. And I have to say that I feel very lucky to have worked with Mario Quintero, who engineered. Well, he didn't engineer the album; he mixed the album. I basically engineered the album. He mixed it and mastered it, and he is a great mix engineer. He's a great engineer all around, but he's really, really good with mixing, and his mixes really, I think, brought out like he brought out a depth and a richness to the sounds that were recorded that I would never be able to sort of do that on my own. He found a way to make things sound bigger, meatier, like dirtier, or more beautiful at times. Like, he was able to really make things sound way better. And he always added like this character, or this this magical thing that I never even knew was there. I would hear it and I'd be like, where the fuck did that sound come from? And he would just always find that little a little way for his voice to come through the song in a way. So I'm really grateful that I worked with him for the album, and I intend on continuing to work with him on the albums to come, because I don't want to lose that part of it. Like we're talking about how album to album, Deftones, whatever engineer they're working with,
right,
they make a change and the album sounds different. You know what I mean? Like I want to make sure that we keep that consistency, because it's important that for me that I feel like I found the right person for LaMacchia and for the records I'm going to make. So,
which honestly saying something on your first shot.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, like if you think about a band, you mentioned Radiohead, they make every single album at this point with Nigel Godrich, something like that. That guy, Nigel, he does every single one of their records. He does every Tom York record. So they obviously found their guy. They have no need or desire to go anywhere else. And what it happens is they sort of like have this consistency that I think is just as important as in other words, he's like the fifth Beatle. You know what I mean?
Right.
Hey, I see you got a big Lebowski poster back there.
I do.
Hell yeah, man.
It's been one of my favorite movies for a very, very long time.
Of course. The dude.
Yeah.
Oh my God. What's the recent thing I found out? Oh my God, dude, you're going to fucking love this. Hold on.
All right.
All right. You, my friend, you may have a poster.
Is that a copy of the screenplay?
That is the script.
Oh.
And it's autographed by John Goodman.
Oh, even better.
Dude, this is it. Yeah.
I love John Goodman so much in general.
Me too.
Like, I've all obviously loved hit him as Walter in there. Actually, recently, if you haven't seen it, the Righteous Gemstones.
The Righteous Gemstones.
So it's about a televangelist family. It's on HBO or HBO Max.
Okay.
Like the super over the top televangelist family that are just terrible people in general.
Okay.
The father, the head of the family, is John Goodman.
Okay.
And his sons are Danny McBride and Adam Devine from Workaholics and stuff. Like, it's ridiculous. It's great. It is so good that
cool, man. I will check it out.
Like, really, he could be in anything and I'll watch it. Even if it's something bad, he'll make it better.
Oh no, but I mean, come on, his role in the Big Lebowski.
Oh yeah.
It's fantastic. Even his role in Oh Brother, Where Art Thou was absolutely fantastic. If we're talking about Coen Brothers movies, you know.
I have another movie poster downstairs. Well, another poster downstairs. It just says Market Zero at the bottom. Has picture with him holding the pistol up. So
Market Zero.
Yep.
Love it. I love it. I love it. He's amazing.
Oh, by far. Yeah, I love him. So, but let me see here. What was I going to ask? I had something in my head. Don't mind me. I'm a bit scatterbrained today too.
Okay.
So, yeah. Let's go off the cuff a little bit. All right. First off, what is the nerdiest thing outside of music that you do or enjoy?
I would have to say that would be my love for RPG game Dungeons and Dragons.
What's your favorite? What's your favorite edition?
My favorite edition, Advanced, the original.
So I
mean, I played when I was a kid. You know.
I did.
I'm not a young guy. I may look young.
I started playing second ed. Like my one of my good friends, we had a birthright campaign that we had going for like a year and a half. That was like one of my favorite like worlds within like second ed and stuff like that. I miss the days of THACO and stuff. So
yeah, I mean, I'm a Gygax guy. The original modules, the original books, the original, the original guides, the hardcover books. I mean, what the fuck were these people thinking? They were like crazy. They were crazy to get into this. Who were the artists they were using anyway? Did you see some of these drawings? They're like insanely bad.
Oh yeah.
But when I say that, I mean that with so much love and endearment and so much like respect for the imagination and the creativity and the persistence that we're going to do this fucking thing. We're going to create this game, this way people can play this game. And it was just like, I mean, I don't know, man. It was just insane. But when I was a kid, and I was fortunate enough when I was like around the same time I was getting into playing music, I had one of my brother's friends who was older than me, this guy, Rich Ambrosio. He played, but he didn't have anyone to play with. This poor guy, I mean, you're talking about New York City in the mid 80s. Okay. It's not a friendly city. It's not a place where you can be a fucking nerd. No nerds allowed in New York City in the mid 80s, especially in South Brooklyn. It was a tough time, tough place to grow up. And he didn't have anyone else to play with. So there was all these young kids. It was me and my friends who were, we were still playing board games and all this crap when we were at that age. And he brought around these books. And this is literally during the Satanic Panic. This is around that time.
Right.
So we played some games. We played. I learned how to make a character, and I learned about the dice, and I learned about the books, and I learned about it all. And I was just completely blown away and obsessed about it, And I got asked, my mom and dad asked me about Satan and all this stuff, and I got called into the guidance counselor's office and all this junk. But Look, they were just concerned. They never seen or heard anything about this. I'm also
Right.
heavy metal, and there's all this devil fucking shit around. So
Right.
I don't blame them. This is new for them. But it was an interesting time, and I'm so lucky that I was introduced to this game at a very, very young age, because I still, to this day, I still collect modules, I still collect books, I still collect dice, I still am interested. I still have goals of mine that I want to own certain books and stuff like that, and I have my own personal goals. My interest in the game was always more about the creative aspect of it than the actual playing. I've played very few games throughout the years. I really, truly have. I've played very few. For the amount of years that I've loved this game, I rarely play, but I pick up the books and I read them and I look through them and I look at the art and I look at the creativity and I just adore it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I'm basically a collector. I'm more of a collector than anything else. But yeah, that's one nerdy thing I do. You want more?
Well, you're welcome to go more if you want.
I love, there's two video games that I play.
Okay.
They're both by Bethesda.
Okay.
Fallout New Vegas,
which is my favorite one. It still crashes all the time for me.
Mine crashes all the fucking time. What do you play on? 360?
So I have it on. Well, right now, in order to play it well with the least amount of crashes, I have it on my computer, but I have a virtual desktop that I'm running Windows 7 off of, that seems to be the most stable. But I love that's my favorite new modern Fallout game is New Vegas, because I enjoyed 3, I enjoyed 4. New Vegas was my favorite.
Did you play any of the ones after that?
Yeah, I have. So I have
76 one, I think.
Or there's what?
Fallout 76.
Oh, 76. So I played it a little bit early on, but honestly, there was no NPCs, so a lot of the story was gone out of it, and that kind of killed it for me. I mean, like I don't mind playing stuff with other people and everything, but if I'm playing Fallout, the reason I enjoy Fallout so much has been like the story and just the crazy stuff.
I'm similar. I like playing alone. That's another reason why I never played a lot of games as far as D&D goes, is because I like experiencing games on my own. I really do. I don't want to play with other people. It's fucking stupid. Like I want to experience. If I'm being in a world, like a fantasy world or some kind of world where there's stuff to find or like treasure to find or a quest, I want to do that on my own. I don't want to be forced to do it because some other character's involved. I really want to have as much control as possible. So I totally get what you're talking about.
Well, there's been a couple of really good D&D games, like video games, over the years too, like Baldur's Gate and Icewind Dale and Neverwinter Nights and stuff like that. So there've been some really bad ones too. But
I mean, to me, it's like the pinnacle, I think, of all fantasy games, as far as like anything inspired by D&D or anything like that, or whatever world that is. Let's just say Tolkien. I'd say Skyrim is probably the pinnacle, and which is another game that I played for the past 10 years. I've been playing that game.
Yeah, I've played through it. I mean, I ran through it sort of just base a few times, including like the DLC and everything for it. But I've messed around with mods and stuff over the years for it just to kind of change.
I never did any of that.
Well, there's the first mod that I ever played with it on was it was a ridiculous one. It turned all of the dragons into weird distorted versions of Macho Man Randy Savage instead of roaring and stuff, just like, ooh, yeah. And like, it was ridiculous. Like the different, and as you leveled up and how like elder dragons and stuff like that, they had different costumes that Macho Man wore and stuff. And instead of wings, it was just these big floppy arms. It was ridiculous.
Oh my God. I want to fucking play the game that way.
And actually, that same person made a similar mod for Fallout 4 that he Macho Death Claws.
Oh my God! Oh my God! I love it.
So,
I mean, I one day I got to get into that shit. Like I mean, I realize like a lot of what is happening with the video game world, like with these like games like the what is it called? Not Oblivion. That's the Elder Scrolls, the whole like sort of series.
Yeah.
You know, the amount of games that this company Bethesda has put out.
Yeah.
They don't want to keep putting out these games. They really don't.
The
They
game
do because what but really, like, again, okay, another version of this whole world. Like, so I get why they wanted to create something that would have a life of its own, and they
right.
wouldn't have to keep going back and like reinventing it in some way.
Right.
So I understand that they kind of. So I get why you would want to create something that had more of a um, a, a, a way that the game can just live on its own and exist. But I gotta say, I like, once again, I have no interest in playing a video game with like fucking strangers. That doesn't
Yeah.
appeal to me at all. Especially a bunch of fucking dickheads.
Right. I mean, I love the games that I can spend that have a ton of stuff to go into. Like I played through the Witcher games. Witcher 3, I put many hours into, and that was a blast just because of all the story. And once again, I'm not playing stuff online with other people and stuff. And then, I once upon a time I played MMOs and stuff, but it's just not my thing.
Yeah, same here, man. I feel the same. Yeah.
All right. So, what is the weirdest show that you've ever played?
That would have to be, all right, let me think about this for a second, because one immediately comes to my mind, but let me just think. Is there anything weirder than that? All right, I'm just going to go with it. All right, the weirdest show I've ever played was on a boat. Okay. And we're not talking about a cruise ship. Well, actually, it is a cruise ship, but it's a cruise boat.
Okay.
It goes around the Statue of Liberty. It's not a cruise ship. It's not like a fucking massive thing. This was a boat. And when I say a boat, I mean it did this.
It rocked.
It rocked all around, every direction. And to the point where amps were sliding around and people are getting seasick. And but it was a thing that a radio station, WSOU 89.5, which championed Candiria and most of the metal bands around the world, basically. They just championed metal music. But we were very fortunate to be, our music was played on WSOU all the time. Still to this day, they still play our music. But they would do these little boat cruises. They would do shows, and we played a show at Seven Dust Prom, and we were the opener. I think it was 1999 or 1998.
Oh wow, that's probably Seven Dust. That probably would have been around. That was probably before Home even.
Yeah, I think that was right around the time they just started doing their thing.
Right.
I'm pretty sure. I don't know. I'm not like not that I'm not a.
Well,
a
I think.
But
I think when they right around when they broke, because I want to say that it was probably like 96 or 97 they dropped their first album, and then which, ironic enough, that they actually had a different name initially, and right before they were about to drop the album, they actually had to change it because of legal reasons. That it was Crawl Space before that, I think. And I remember I talked to Morgan Rose, the drummer, about it, and he was like, yeah, we lost so much of our steam because we had released all this promo stuff under this name, and all of a sudden we can't even use this name, so people are wondering who the hell we are. Again.
Yeah, of course, that sucks. Yeah, man, that was a great show. The weirdest thing about it was not just because it was on a boat. The fans that came on the boat, that were there was a lot of them. It was, we put, I don't know how many hundreds of people we put on this boat, but whoever we got on this boat, they decided it would be a great idea to not just mosh and go fucking crazy with the boat going crazy, but all of the life jackets were like up above us in these, like there were like these wood sort of straps, wooden straps, I guess you can call them, like little slats of wood.
Okay.
That kept all of the life jackets above us. And in case in an emergency, you could just rip this wooden slat down and grab a life jacket, right?
That feels like that's a recipe for disaster with that many people.
Oh, it was a total recipe for disaster because they just decided it's going to be fucking a great time if the boat is not sinking, that we just rip all of these wooden slats off, take all the life preservers and just throw them overboard. for no reason. So it was wild. It was wild to see that. It was pretty fucking wild and scary at the same time because it was rough water. So it was a wild experience. It was a really wild experience. And I'm not great with I get motion sickness a lot. So I took a bunch of Dramamine before just to make sure that I didn't get sick, but it didn't help that much. It was a really crazy show. That's probably the weirdest, wildest show I ever played. And then anytime you're on stage, sharing the stage with Guar, it's fucking wild. And we've done that a lot. So,
Yeah, Guar's they're probably, I've never had a long interview with them, but they're always hilarious.
Oh, of course. What are you kidding me? We were fortunate.
There was one time that I actually managed to catch them off guard before they actually started going into things again. The first question I asked them was, who had the biggest dick in Guar?
It's the drummer. I've seen it now. We were fortunate enough to do, when we did Warped Tour in 2017, Guar was, the headlining band on not our stage, but actually, was it our stage? I'm not even sure at this point. They were on Mutant North or Mutant South. They were either on our stage or next to our stage. Mm-hmm. But at the end of every night, Guar would set up barbecue and they would set up chairs and it would be like a no-brainer. Okay, we're done with our set. We're done with our night. Go over to the Guar bus. They'll cook for you. They're hanging out. They got a cooler going. They got music going. It was just always, it was Guar, us, and CKY. I would go there, at least me, I would go there a lot and we would hang with those guys. And they were just so nice and so welcoming and such decent people and so easy to get along with and cool. We had a really nice time with those guys, and to see them put on this big show every night, man, what an awesome fucking thing. These guys are like, it's amazing. It's kind of amazing, right? You watch a band do this. How long have they been together?
I mean,
Guar's a band for, I don't know,
at least 30 years at this point, I think. I mean,
it's gotta be 30 years.
Yeah.
It's fucking nuts.
Yeah.
All
right. So, album that you most regret buying?
Well,
throughout your life. I mean, this doesn't have, I'm not saying like something recent or anything.
Well, here's the thing. Okay. Because it started out with regret. And then it wound up being like, I'm so fucking glad I did this when I was a kid. When I was very young, and I was about 14 or 15 years old, me and my best friend Tommy, we saw the movie Crossroads together. Now, we were both playing guitar for a couple of years.
Okay.
And we saw the movie Crossroads, not the Crossroads with Britney Spears.
No, I know the one with Steve Vai. I'm
Steve Vai and Ralph Macchio.
Yep.
And damn it, I forget the damn name of the other guy. Something Seneca. One of the leads in the movie.
Yeah.
Anyway, regardless, we see the final duel in the movie, the guitar duel between Ralph Macchio and Steve Vai.
Right.
And we are like, oh my God, this guy's Steve Vai. Look at this fucking guy, how cool he is, how awesome he plays. Who the fuck is this guy? And let's go buy his record. So we go to our local record store and we buy the album, the only album at the time that he had available, which was an album called Flexible.
Okay, yeah.
And, and we take it home. And now you're talking about 15-year-old kids that are looking for like fucking, we want to hear fucking guitar players shred. And we put this album on and the first track comes on and it's awesome. It's exactly what we were hoping for. And then the next track comes on, and it's like Little Green Men or something like that is the title.
Mhm.
And it's like this weird out there, crazy fucking shit. And we're just like, what the fuck is going on? And then there's all of these like weird ambient tracks.
Right.
And so it was the type of thing where we were both like, this is so disappointing. Oh my God, this is terrible. Fuck this shit. So stupid. This isn't like metal. This isn't the Misfits or like Metallica or like Iron Maiden. This isn't the bands we love. So Tommy was like, I don't want anything to do with this. You can have it. And I was like, fucking whatever. I don't know. I don't like it, but I'll hold on to it. So I hold on to it. And then years and years pass, and Steve Vai continues his journey, and he puts out Passion Warfare, and he becomes a big guitar player, and blah, 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 blah. And then I realized, oh my God, you know what? I have that Flexible album. I don't fucking listen to it. I never listen to it. And then I put it on, and I started listening to it, and I started listening to it regularly. And I began to understand the fucking genius that is fucking that Flexible fucking album. I understand it was how it was recorded. And I'm like, oh my God, this guy made this with a fucking like a cassette 8-track. This is insane, you know? And the music on it is absolutely brilliant. All of it is brilliant. I just was too young, you know, to get it.
You know, it's funny. There's a lot of stuff I think that ends up being like, you know, what's exciting to us when we're young versus what's exciting to us as we get older.
Oh, of course.
You know,
of course.
And it's funny too, because like there are certain parts that I didn't like about certain bands that now that's the part I like more than what I like. You know, it's just.
That's right.
And actually, speaking of Steve Vai, that's how I started listening to Devin Townsend in the first place too. Because
makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
makes sense. And you know what's funny? It's the interesting thing that you say that is because the reason why I think artists need to develop and change and grow and sort of molt and break their old sort of you know forms and change and you know, even if it's painful for some fans, you know, the development may lead to a new crowd, and you have to do that. I mean, every great artist has, you know, I mean, look at all the different styles of music Prince explored. Think about all the different things that Zappa tried to do, and like every artist ever fucking tried to do. Like it's just the way, you know, that it works. And if you want to be one of those bands that keeps making the same album over and over again, and you're happy with that niche and you create a niche, that's great. Bands like Hatebreed, bands like Slayer. You know, I never seen a more powerful live show. Well, in their way, in the way that Hatebreed gets on a stage and they create this energy. It's a very specific thing that you experience when you see a Hatebreed show.
It is actually, yeah. Now, like they're one of in this era at this point of bands that I can still see, or that I in the last 10 years, I'd say that are prominent. They're probably one of my top 5 bands to see live. Them, Dillinger Escape Plan, because it was also, I mean, that I never went to a sane Dillinger Escape Plan show. It didn't exist. There were like, and but at the same time, like, and different bands for different reasons too. Like Maiden, actually, last time I saw Maiden still puts on just an amazing show.
Sure, yeah.
Foo Fighters actually are up there too, because they have fun. They like. There's something you can tell when you see the people up, because you see the bands that are up there that are kind of just doing their thing and everything like that. And I mean, not to take away or anything like that, but then you see the ones that are truly loving and enjoying what they're doing, and it comes across.
Of course, man. Yeah, it really does. I mean, there's like a certain, you know, I think the thing is about touring experience. That's the funny thing is, I forget who. Oh, I did a podcast with Hoya from Madball.
Okay.
And he was telling me and Mike, my bass player Mike, about his experience when they got offered to go out on the road with Limp Bizkit.
Okay.
Okay. Now this is back in the day. This is when Limp Bizkit was either you love him or you hate him. A lot of people love to hate that band or whatever.
Yep.
And he specifically said that he was like, people love to hate that band, but he goes, but I will always give them love because of the simple fact that like they heard my band. They didn't need us on the road with them. They could have took anybody out. It didn't matter. They were a huge band. And the reason why they took us out is because they heard our music and they liked it. And they decided we're going to take these guys out on the road with us. And we played in front of bigger crowds than we ever played to in our entire lives. We were young kids. We were in the New York hardcore scene. That's all we did.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, and the thing about that was it made our music change slightly because now we were playing in arenas and we had to learn how to sort of make music work in these huge spaces, as opposed to playing in these tiny rooms. So I think that the idea that like, your experience touring and your experience playing shows, it's an art form in itself about how you learn about a room, how you learn about playing to a bigger crowd. There's an art form to that. And there's a reason why a band like Hatebreed is one of the best live bands you could possibly see live if you love heavy music, because those guys have mastered the art of getting on stage, getting a crowd going, there's such a tight band.
Oh, Jamie's a consummate showman too.
Oh my God,
like
he's fucking incredible, man. He's great. He's amazing. All of them. Chris Beatty, the whole band, Matt. I mean, they're just like, Wayne is, oh my God, I love all those guys, man. I have so much love for them. And they really do, throughout the years, have really been so kind to Candiria. They really have, in many ways. I mean, they always look out for us. They always have looked out for us. And we're just extremely grateful, And to be able to even go on Warped Tour with them and share the stage with them was just another great part of that tour, because they were there with us, and they've been, they're the one of the bands that we grew up with, playing in tiny little venues, in Connecticut, and tiny little bars in Brooklyn or in the Bronx, like weird fucking little places. Anyway, yeah.
All right. So does pineapple belong on pizza?
Not for me, it doesn't. But I'm not offended by it.
Fair enough. There are people that are like I've had people, I've asked that before and had people go on like rants on that. But yeah, I'm not a fan of pineapple. Funny thing is, I like pineapple. I don't like cooked pineapple.
I mean, look, I'll put it to this way: if somebody for me, pineapple doesn't belong on pizza. But if I was really, really, truly hungry and somebody brought in a fucking pineapple pizza and that's all there was to eat, I would try it. Right. I would just eat it. And if I hated it and I didn't like the way it tasted, I will then say pineapple doesn't belong on pizza. But to this day, I've never tried it. And I guess there's a part of me that is like, I'm sort of a traditionalist because I'm from Brooklyn.
Right.
Born and raised. I am Sicilian. That's my blood. That's my roots. I grew up eating fucking meatballs and pasta, and you eat it this way, you don't eat it that way. Pineapple has no place in an Italian the same way, avocado does.
Right.
There's no avocado in an Italian dish. It just doesn't happen. Right. So in a way, does avocado belong on pizza? No, it doesn't. Does I can go the other way with it. I can ask you, does fucking tomato belong in a fucking peanut butter and jelly sandwich? No, it doesn't. But if that is what you like, the guitar player from fucking Candiria, who has done some really, really weird shit with music, fucking have at it. Enjoy it. Make it work. Make it work. Make pineapple work on pizza. That's the thing. That's the takeaway I would say.
Actually, you know what?
Let's make it work on pizza. How about that?
Fair enough. So speaking of pizza, though, how do you feel about Chicago deep dish?
I will eat it. I will eat it. I will try it. I will eat it.
Because I've found it in years. I found that a lot of times people either like one or the either like and New York style is not even necessarily a good way of saying it, because it's just one of, everybody outside of New York advertises, you know, the big ass thin crust pizzas as, and the thing is, I don't know that that's really representative other than a lot of times big slices and stuff like that. But the stuff I love going around New York and trying pizza at like the little hole in the wall places and stuff. That's the best way to do it.
Oh yeah, you're right. That's the way to go about it. The thing is, there's this like a new trend happening in New York City right now, where it's Detroit style pizza.
Oh yeah,
here. So it's not that much different than like a deep dish. You know, to me, the basic components are bread, sauce, tomato sauce, and cheese.
Yep.
Anything after that, I mean, look, I know famous Italian pizzerias here, specifically J&V Pizza, which is on 18th Avenue, not far from my house. They may be the very first pizzeria in all of New York to ever serve a slice of pizza. Before them, because they were around since like the 50s, before them, you got a pie or you didn't get nothing. You know, that's just the way pizza was served. Pizza was served by the pie, and you split it yourself and you ate it amongst your friends. That's how you were served. J&V was either the first or one of the very first to be able to just give you one slice, and you can pay 50 cents for a slice. Okay. So even that place serves a Chicago style deep dish pizza. They serve it. As a matter of fact, they have multiple kinds. Like you can get one that's all meat. You can get one that's meat and vegetables. They have all these different styles. So I don't know. I think pizza has become so diverse that it's almost becoming so what's the word? Homogenized.
Yeah.
Sense that I don't know. They're all kind of turning into one another. You know what I mean?
Right.
But there are some pizzerias, like I just had pizza before. I just came from a pizzeria before I sat down to do these two podcasts tonight. And I had a slice from Italia Pizza right up the street from me. It's one of my favorite pizzerias. And I had a beef patty with cheese. Now, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. You ever have a beef patty with cheese from a pizzeria?
No.
Okay. Well, here's the thing. Somehow along the way, Jamaican beef patties wound up being served in every single New York City pizzeria. I don't know how. I don't know what cornbread and turmeric have anything to fucking do with pizza, but somehow, some way, it did. And you can get a Jamaican beef patty pretty much in any single New York City pizzeria joint you walk into. Any one of them.
I'm gonna have to try that next time I'm in New York now.
I mean, I just had one. I had a beef patty with cheese. To me, that's Italian food. I don't know how somehow Jamaican became Italian food, but it is. It's a staple in every single pizzeria you can fucking find in New York City. And I am like blown away that there hasn't been a documentary. No one knows why these things started showing up in pizzerias starting in like the 80s or something. Like, what happened? How did that happen? But I'm gonna find out, man. I'm gonna make that documentary one day. Yeah.
That'd be interesting to know the answer to that, really.
It's true. And I know the company. They're called Tower Islands. They make these. Tower Islands is the company that makes these beef patties that are in every single fucking New York City pizzeria. I don't know why, but you would love it.
Oh, I'm sure. There's not much that I don't love when it comes to food. I mean, honestly, like there's so very little that I won't eat or try or anything like that. I mean, I'm part Japanese. I grew up eating like octopus and stuff. My grandma would do all kinds of weird shit, and just like it's stuff that was normal to me growing up. So, like I think that on its own made me more adventurous towards food that I'd eat anyway. So,
sure, yeah. That's interesting, man.
So,
yeah, I agree with you, man. I mean, not that I have any type of my upbringing is really more based in Sicilian or Italian.
True, but New York's so diverse as far as the different cultures and everything like that. Where like New York City, I mean, you depending on where you are, different boroughs, everything like that, you're going to find different types of food. It's so much fun to just like I almost think that if you're going to the city and you're going to be there a little bit and you don't just take time to run around and just try something new, that you're it's a wasted opportunity.
For me, if you live in New York City and you're not out enjoying the food and you're not out enjoying the art and the culture and you're not going to museums and you're not going to the parks and you're not experiencing the things that this city has to offer,
what are you doing in the city?
And my suggestion to you is move to fucking Florida and get the fuck out of my way.
Right. Well, look, it's already expensive enough to live in New York City. So if you're not going to enjoy what's there, why would you be there?
Get the fuck out, because you're just fucking making it shitty for everybody else.
You're in the way.
In the way. You really are. You're taking up unnecessary space. Go live in the woods. Go.
I mean, come on, it'll be cheaper for them if they're going to waste that time, whatever.
It's true. You're not utilizing what the fuck the point of this city to be here is anyway. Man, crazy.
Well, so obviously now that you have the album done, everything at least set for what's going to be in the book, you don't have the physical book in hand yet. I mean, obviously you're kind of close to the end of this particular chapter. So what's next?
Well, now that we're getting to that point where the creative process is just about done, and I'm just going to focus on a live show. I want to focus on putting on a show that transcends, just the music part of it. I want to start putting on shows that incorporate a real experience that includes performers and includes audio. Obviously, the audio will be supplied by the band, video. And I want to just try to create some type of experience that transcends the normal going to the show to see a band. Right. That's the goal. That's the goal for me. And I have the musicians right now and the people with me that are involved in this that are totally on board with that. So we're making videos and we're playing shows and we're trying to create something that is more like a culture than it is a band. And we're kind of happy doing it. So that's kind of where I'm headed,
Well, I definitely like that, because I mean, it's definitely you seem to be going more from the angle of actually it's not necessarily a matter of, we want to just get sell a shitload of albums or anything like that. I mean, not that selling a shitload of albums is a bad thing, but it feels more like the important bit is having that music and experience connect with people. And
right, exactly.
I think that on its own is generally more fulfilling,
Sure, yeah, I think so too. And at this point in my life, I am, Candiria, we were a band that was all about a very visceral live experience that was really more about mind and body. Mm-hmm. And I think where I'm at right now is not heart and soul. That's kind of corny sounding, but like soul and spirit, maybe. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I want that to sort of I want that to carry through whenever I'm on the stage. I want people to experience something where they walk away, feeling like they experienced something that affected them in a certain way. And I don't want it to just be this physical experience, like as if you were going to a Candiria show and you feel like, holy shit, now I got to go to bed for 3 fucking days. I want them to feel like maybe they need to go fucking, I don't know, meditate on something for 3 days instead,
Right.
So it's the same, really, the same idea, really, but I'm just trying to approach it in a different way. I'm trying to do something different with the live experience. And I feel like I'm onto something that is really exciting, not just for me, but the people that are involved with this record and the performers and the band members and everyone involved. It's been a really exciting ride so far. So I'm going to keep pushing and keep going for it and keep doing this thing.
All right. So where can people order your pre-order at this point, since we're a little bit early and
Right.
everything. So where can people pre-order the album and everything?
That would be at aqualam.org.
All right, and as far as it goes, I'll have links and everything with it too. But
Sure, yeah.
so, and I'm gonna order myself some vinyl because I can.
Thank you, Jay. I appreciate it so much, man. I really do.
So, well, honestly, that's pretty much all I have. I not too bad for just throwing together a good conversation.
Oh man, I mean, come on, man. We could fucking look. You got two guys here that know what the hell they're doing. You know, not our first rodeo.
Yep, and you know what? I listen to a lot of interviews from other people that, I mean, some of them are all right, some of them are really good. A lot of them are just boring. They're so boring. It's the same stupid ass questions.
Yeah.
Like, so tell us about the album. So tell us about the tour. It's like, come on.
That's why I appreciate the interesting questions you threw my way, man. So it definitely does go. It definitely does not go unappreciated. So thank you.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, and thank you. I mean, this has been a wonderful time. I'm glad I got a chance to sit with you. And honestly, I've had a rough couple of past days, so this has actually been a kind of a breath of fresh air for me.
Cool, man. I'm happy that I could be of assistance. So,
and like I said, I really, really, really enjoy the album. I'm spoiled, and I get to listen to it early.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it, man. I really do. It means a lot to me that you enjoy it. It really does.
And the funny thing is, I certainly don't always buy albums and stuff from people I talk to and everything. I really do enjoy this. This is something I want to have as part of my collection, especially with all the book, the art, everything like that. I'm really looking forward to having that experience to go along with the music.
Awesome, man. Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Well, before we go, anything you want to get off your chest? Anything you want to say?
Hallelujah. My album's coming out. Just May 20th, my album's coming out on Aqualam Records. You could pick it up at aqualam.org. You could follow me at LaMacchia Music. That's pretty much across all social media. LaMacchia Music at Instagram, Facebook, even I'm doing TikTok. Can you believe that shit?
Oh, I that's like one thing I can't bring myself to do yet.
I'm not doing it very well, I will say. But I'm on there.
Right. Hey, look, the effort has been made.
I'm trying. I'm on there. Maybe you can find me. Maybe you'll be like amused at what I'm doing. Maybe not. It's not very amusing. But LaMacchia Music is pretty much across the board social media. Aqualam.org. That's Aqualam, all one word. You know how to spell both, .org. And that's where you can find the vinyl. You can pre-order the vinyl, the CD, the book, or you can buy there's a vinyl and book combo. There's a CD and book combo. I don't know. Figure it out. I don't, I mean, I hope you will buy it. If you don't, then at least check it out. And if you don't check it out, and you just like this interview, that's cool too.
Watch the videos, listen to the music, do all that stuff. Come on.
Check it out.
I mean, look, nobody's so busy that they can't take a little bit of time,
Take a couple minutes, check it out.
All right, man. Well, like I said, it's been an absolute pleasure. And honestly, I'm hoping that you guys tour somewhere near. I'm in Columbus, Ohio. So.
Oh, right on. Yeah, man. We have some people out in Cleveland, and so I'm not saying that Cleveland and Columbus are the same thing.
Oh, it's two. My girlfriend lives in right outside of Cleveland, Brooklyn Heights. So I'm up that way anyhow. So it's not like that's out of the way for me. It's like 2 hours, but I do the drive all the time.
Exactly. So my point is we will be out that way regardless. So
good.
Columbus will be on, there'll be like a Cleveland gig and then a Columbus gig. You know what I mean? It seems to make a lot of sense to do something like that.
Yep.
So I hope I see you too, man.
Well, yeah, hopefully we get to meet each other in person. And like I said, I'm really, really excited to kind of get the rest of that experience to go along with the album. So, but once again, thank you for taking some time with me here. And I wish you the best of luck with everything. And I hope people buy the absolute shit out of your album.
Thanks, Jay. I appreciate it, man.
All right, man. Well, you have a good one. And you know, it's one of those things on ending bits. I always go like, where do I kind of cut off and everything like that. But you know, I just I I really am really enjoyed this conversation.
Hey, man. Same here, man. I really did too.
All right, man. Well, you have a good night, and I will catch you later. And everybody, buy the album, please, or listen to the album. Do something, but take some time.
All right, man. You take it easy.
All right. Have a good one.
You too.